Hello, curling fans, and welcome back to another edition of the Broom Brothers, the official podcast of the curling group and the Grand Slam of curling. And we are continuing our Olympics preview, and I would be remiss to say that I'm a little disappointed it's not just doubles, because I would play with this guy. It's my man, my broom bro, Robbie Doherty.
Well, do you know whose name would not be on the list of teams today if we played together at the Olympics?
Ours?
You know what? That would be fun. And I'm just saying, you can have an import for men's. So, it's a small island. I'm just saying.
A good point. I would love to go to the Briar. I was thinking of seeing how much money I can give Thomas Scoffin to take me. He has Kerr Drummond as his import. Kerr is better than me, but I feel like maybe next year Kerr will try to get on a team in the quad reshuffling or whatever. I don't know that for sure, but I'm just guessing. So I'm thinking Scoff might have some room for an old guy like me. And I'm just trying to figure out how much money it's going to take for him to just bring me on.
I'll make you a good offer. We'll talk after the show. Oh yeah.
No, I was going to pay him. You don't have to pay me.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'll do it for 10% less, so whatever, Scoff.
Okay. Awesome. But who's going to skip us? Can we get Casey? Can we get Casey out of retirement or what?
You know what? Charlotte's a small place, so I'll drive the 3.5 minutes to his house after this, and we'll talk to him, see what he's saying.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Good. Yep. All right. I mean, hey, if you, I would love to be an import lead as well. I feel like that's history. That feels like it doesn't happen too often, if at all. Has there ever been an import lead? We'll have to talk about this and figure it out. But I don't. Doubles is probably not my game. I'm probably better suited to the fours game.
Well, last year the Nationals were in PEI, and there were 19 teams in the provincials because it was the hometown Nationals. Which
they're like, we don't have to get on a plane to go to.
Right. So I played with Michelle McQuaid, who's far better curler than I am. And far better person than I am. And the poor girl, she got what's called the Doherty draw in PEI, where, if there's an odd number of teams, Robbie gets the draw back most times. I think it was like 5 in a row.
Oh, God.
And anyway, I think we either won our first one and lost our second one, or we just lost our first one and we fell way back. Lost the semis, played 13 games.
God.
Yeah, that was
like hell.
Yeah, a lot of CBD baths, a lot of Advil, a lot of
CBD baths.
Oh yeah, bath bomb.
Oh, interesting. And then what? Your skin absorbs it?
I guess so.
Oh, okay.
It didn't work.
You're like, I don't know.
I was still limping by the second end anyway. Nonetheless, we got on the podium. So anyway,
that's good. So from the PEI mixed doubles podium to the Olympic mixed doubles podium, basically same.
Pretty much.
We are going to be running through the mixed doubles field. Maybe not. This won't be maybe as formal as the fours field. We're going to kind of jump around, talk about a bunch of the teams. Of course, we're going to give you our predictions at the end. The mixed doubles tournament, as you're listening to this episode, is going to start in just a couple of days. So there's lots to play for. It kind of gets going before the Olympics themselves even get going. We're going to see some names in this field that are playing in the 4-person tournament as well. And I should mention just before we start this episode that I know some of you are probably wondering, what's going on with the Scotties. We haven't discussed the Scotties. Robbie and I are going to do a recap episode of the Scotties, and probably just a short one because, no offense, but we're in Olympics mode right now. So we'll wrap up the Scotties when it's all done. The Scotties hasn't started as we're recording this episode, but as you're listening to it, it has started, and I hope everybody is having a great time.
Just renewed my TSN subscription this morning.
There we go.
My dad chair all cozied up. I'm excited for it.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great, of course. And as you're listening to this episode, it is probably it's just heading into championship weekend at the Scotties. So best of luck to all the teams that are playing in that, whoever it happens to be. And we will recap the Scotties next week in the midst of our 4-player previews and all that stuff for the Olympics coming. It's just lots of Broom Brothers all the time, but I think our listeners don't hate that. Do they? Now, before we get into the mixed doubles preview, should also mention that this episode is brought to you by Gold Line Curling. Thank you again to them for their continued support of this show. Robbie's rocking the rocking the hoodie. And I'll say this, I don't want to reveal too much. I'll probably reveal it on our last episode, our last Olympic preview episode. But Goldline sent me a little gift yesterday.
Oh boy.
And I'm excited to show it off on the show, but I feel like it will be appropriate for our last Olympic preview episode. So stay tuned for that, but I am very excited to show it off. And Robbie, you're showing off the hoodie right now. Of course, we are heading into the home stretch right before the Olympics. If you're a Canadian curling fan and you want to rep Canada at the Olympics, all of the official Olympic gear is at goldlinecurling.com. You can buy the official Team Canada jacket. You can buy a hoodie like Robbie's wearing, crew necks, t-shirts. They got it all. It's a beautiful logo. It's a great way to support Canadian curling. And yeah, it's a great way to cheer on your favorite team. You know, you'll be wearing what the pros are wearing, as they say.
Yeah, well, I like how you said what Robbie's wearing, but you could also word that as what Robbie never takes off between this and the other one, the crew necks. But honestly, like we talked about it in one of the previous episodes, we had a 30 centimeter of snow, out of nowhere, not predicted, just boom, 30 centimeters overnight. So I spent quite a couple hours shoveling earlier this week. And when I got in, the first thing I went for was my joggers and my hoodie. And let me tell you, I was cozied up, nice and warm, all comfy, ready to take on the evening in no time, thanks to Goldline. So it's not just their curling apparel, but it's their off-ice stuff too. So big thanks to them.
If you're ready to take on the evening like our man Robbie Doherty, head on over to goldlinecurling.com, the choice of champions. All right, let's get into our mixed doubles preview. As a lot of people will know, 10 teams in the mixed doubles field representing 10 different countries. We are seeing only one country not represented somewhere in the 4-player fields here, and that is Estonia.
Yep.
Marie Caldby, Harry Lill. But other than that, all of the countries that you're going to be seeing in the mixed doubles tournament, you will also see somewhere in the 4s tournament as well. And Robbie, maybe we'll start at the top here.
Yeah.
And we're not going to go through every team in this mixed doubles field, specifically, like I said, like we do for the four-person team previews, but doubletakeout.com, we've referenced it before. Ken Pomeroy's Curling's ranking website has up-to-date mixed doubles rankings, and sitting at the top is the U.S. pair of Corey and Corey, TC and Dropkin. They're the 2023 world champions. They've been in and out of that number 1 spot. They play more than almost anyone. As you know, if you look at the mixed doubles calendar, there's not a ton of marquee events, and we're going to end up talking about how a lot of these teams haven't actually played that much this season, because also a lot of them have 4-player commitments like Corey and Corey both do. But yeah, Corey and Corey, they've played 33 games this year. They're sporting a 29-4 record, and they sit at number 1 on the Double Takeout rankings. So let's start there, Robbie, because it seems like they're coming in as the favorite in a packed field. Do they feel like the favorite to you as well?
I think it's hard to name a true favorite in mixed doubles curling. It's just so far in its infancy as a medal sport. And, curling, it's been around for quite some time now, obviously being competed in, but it's just not, it doesn't have the history, it doesn't have the legacy to know exactly what makes a true favorite in this sport, in my opinion. The one thing I'll say about Corey and Corey, and this is coming from a PEI semifinalist, so not exactly
an expert opinion.
Exactly. Yeah. But it seems like out of the whole field, and there's a couple other teams that do this well also, but it seems like they're the one true real team. It's like they commit to it. They kind of come out and say it. We're a mixed doubles team. We have our 4-person team. Like they're always on social media. They're branding. They work very hard at it. They're always showing clips of the work they're putting into it. And it seems to come out on the ice when they do compete. And the other thing I'll say, and you'll probably hear this a lot in the discussion today, in my opinion, is there's some curlers in the world who are very good 4-player curlers, but they're friggin' awesome mixed doubles players. To me, Corey Dropkin lands in that category. If not, and maybe he's the best at the whole thing. I see Corey, it's just, he's got, and maybe it just kind of fits his personality or his, Kylie's, or Corey is a very athletic guy. And maybe it's that combination of throwing and sweeping your own, and that just, triggers something different in him. But to me, this team is very tough. I'm not going to come out and say they're the heavy favorite going into it, but they're a team that practices, over the quadrennial. They compete a lot. It means a lot to them. I think they're definitely looked at as a team to beat, but I'm not ready to say they're the true dominant favorite.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think this field is really interesting in that it's almost hard to point to a team on both sides. Like, I think it's hard to point to a team and say, oh, they're going to win for sure. And it's also hard to point to a team and say, like, oh, they're going to come last for sure. Like, it's a really, really tight field. If you look at the double takeout rankings, we have a lot of the top 10 teams in this field. And then we have a couple teams just outside the top 10. And then we have a team that's not ranked for a particular reason. And we'll discuss that too. But yeah, it is. I agree with you in that it does feel like such a tight field. You almost can't predict where anyone is going to finish. We're, for our 4-person, we're doing what we think our team's best possible finish and worst possible finish. And for this, it kind of feels like almost every team is like best finish is gold and worst finish is 10.
Is last.
Like it's such a hard thing to predict that way. And I mean, we saw it last Olympics. I mean, no one had Amos and Stefania winning the last Olympics. There were really, really good teams in that field, teams that really focus on mixed doubles. And so I agree, tough to predict, but I do also agree that I think Corey, I would say, so, you made the comment of, I think they focus on mixed doubles almost more than anyone. And I think that is true of the 4-person players. I think that there are teams here, like Kaldvi Lil and Zelengrova Chabakovsky from Czechia, where that is their whole thing. They don't do anything else other than mixed doubles. And so for them, I think they're also in that boat, but I agree with you in terms of, even, you look at their record, like they've played 33 games this year, which is more than almost any of the teams, if not all of the teams on this list. That certainly more than the 4 players, like, Jen and Bruce have played 19 games. Joss and Brett have played 13 games. Vrana and Vrana have played 10 games. So yeah, when it comes to the players who were also in the 4-person field, they're way ahead. And I agree with you that Corey Dropkin is a fantastic mixed doubles player. I think Corey TC is too. Corey's got that skipping background, but she plays third for her women's team. So, playing third, you've got to have all the shots, but then she also has a long career of dealing with the pressure of throwing the last rock, which of course she does on this mixed doubles team. And so, yeah, I think they have an advantage in a few ways in that sense. And also to your point, we're hearing rumblings that this might become their full-time thing. Corey has already kind of released himself from his 4-player team duties, their team Stopera now. Corey TC, will see her in the 4-person game on the women's side, as we previewed their team just a few days ago. But they're a team that people have been there's sort of been rumblings that they might back away from the 4-person game next year and just focus on mixed doubles, both on tour and in Rock League. So fascinating. I think as much as there can be a favorite, I think they're sort of in that picture of, favorites. They're their favorite adjacent. If you can have a favorite, I would imagine betting odds would have them as one of, if not the favorite going into the event. Now, let's talk a little bit. Let's kind of go to the other end and start with some of the teams that I had just mentioned that are just mixed doubles specialists that we don't really see on the 4-person tour, because I think that a lot of people who are listening to this episode are they know who Bruce Mowat is, they know who Jocelyn Peterman is, but they maybe don't know these kind of lesser known players just because they only focus on mixed doubles. So we have 3 teams in this field that are mixed doubles specialists, I would say. We've got Czechia's Zelengrova and Chabakovsky. We've got Estonia's Kaldvi and Lil, and we have Norway's Skazlian and Nedregotten. Now, Skazlian, we saw, does play 4. She's on Marianne Rorvik's team, but definitely mixed doubles is the focus for her. And for Magnus, that is his entire focus. So yeah, what do you make of the mixed doubles specialists? Like, are you starting to see them pull ahead of the field in any way because they focus just on mixed doubles? I mean, if we're talking rankings, Czechia's 31 coming into this. Caldvy and Lille are 10th. They've dropped to 12th actually, just since I updated the rankings last night. Skaslian and Nedregotten are 5th. So do you think we're at the point where them playing so much mixed doubles curling gives them an advantage coming in, or are we not there yet?
No, I don't think so. And I think we're even further away from it than we were a few years ago, just in my opinion, because I'm surprised we didn't see more, kind of big name curlers, quote unquote, take that route after the last Olympics. Like I remember after the mixed doubles wrapped up, and even in 2018, like that was a lot of chatter. Like I think it's just a matter of time before you see, players just designate themselves as one or the other. But I don't think so. I really watched a lot of the mixed doubles Olympic trials last year. It was in Nova Scotia, so it was my time zone. It kind of worked out perfect. And then, watched the Worlds in Fredericton as much as I could, and just kind of paid attention to it more this year as it's an Olympic year sort of thing. And I think there's a few teams that jump out at me, one being Peterman and Gallant that we'll obviously talk about later. They're both obviously 4-person players. And in my opinion, they're as good as anybody in the world. You look down the list, you mentioned Mozaner and Constantini. They won gold at the last Olympics, took a year off, boom, right back, won the Worlds. Like, I don't see anything to back up that thought that the strictly mixed doubles are pulling ahead. With that said, I think geographically, for some countries, it makes a lot of sense. And this goes back to the 2011 Canadian mixed. So we had won the
oh, it does it?
IYKYK. And we had won the Canadian mixed. And back then it was like mixed doubles was almost like a trial, but they had a Worlds. It was combined with the mixed seniors. And what they did was 2 people from the Canadian mixed team went to the Worlds. So Robert Campbell and Rebecca Jean McPhee represented Canada, but Jackie and I, the other 2 on the team, we just got a free trip. So we just went to watch it.
And, that's funny.
Yeah, it was in Minnesota. It was great.
Because there was no world mixed. So that was their way.
No, there was
no like world mixed fours.
No, there wasn't.
Okay.
No.
So this was Curling Canada's way of saying, like, congratulations on winning Canadian mixed. Yeah. You can go to Minnesota and watch your friends play.
Canada has to have a team in the Worlds.
Gotcha.
We don't have a mixed doubles nationals, so here it is.
Right.
And I remember, like, especially in 2011, when you're going as Team Canada, you look at the draw and you should win that one, because there was just some random countries that were there, like Turkey, before we'd ever heard of them on the curling. The national curling or international curling stage, I should say. I think I want to say like Ireland had a team in it. That's those sort of countries that are not household names in curling. So you kind of see that, you sort of circle that as a win. But then we showed up and we realized that these teams are really, really friggin' good. Right. And a lot of the times, what kind of the chatter behind the glass at that event was a lot of these countries, they don't have 4 great players. They really don't. 4 men or 4 women. But a lot of them have one of each gender. Yeah. And they get together and started playing mixed doubles. And I think that's, you're starting to see, you're seeing that here in the field. Like Estonia, especially, is the one that jumped out at me. Estonia is probably, not at least in the near future, going to have a number 1 ranked men's or women's team in the world. But they had a mixed doubles team. So it kind of makes sense. So in my opinion, it's not that so much that it's the people who just decide to do mixed doubles because that's their passion, that's what they feel they're good at, but perhaps some countries that you wouldn't assume would be in the mix for, being that one of those top ranked team in mixed doubles, it's more attainable.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think you're right in that it's not necessarily being a specialist means you are amazing. I agree with you. I do think one thing that's fun to notice as well, and Czechia does have a men's team in the field, as we know, Lukáš Klima, but Zelengrova Chabakovsky, average age of 20. So Julie Zelengrova is 19 and Vit Chabakovsky is 21.
Wow.
And they're pretty much, it seems like, already kind of putting their eggs in the mixed doubles basket. You know, Julie went to the Junior Worlds a couple of years ago, or the World Junior B, I should say, back in 2024. But then pretty much since then has just been focused, like since she's gotten out of junior, and she's not even out of junior, she's 19, but she this year basically said, like, I'm not even going to try in juniors. I'm just going for mixed doubles. I'm going for the Olympics. And yes, I think Caldvey and Lille are definitely a team that they've been world number one before. You know, they're a great example of, you know, Marie has gone to the worlds for 4-person curling as part of Estonia's team, but they go to the worlds and they go, you know, 0-11 or whatever. So if you are the good player on your women's or men's fours team in these countries, as you said, Robbie, kind of stands to reason that you could have a lot more success in mixed doubles. I find Caldvey and Lille kind of interesting in this pack of teams because, as I said, they've been world number one. You know, they've won quite a few events on the mixed doubles tour. This year, though, it's been a real struggle for them. They're only 35-28 on the year. Ken Palm has them at number 12. And the number that jumps out to me that I hate looking at if I'm Caldvey and Lille, they are 1-12 against the top 10 teams in the world so far this year. And that's not something we're used to seeing out of them. Like, as I say, they're a team that wins events. Like, they beat the top teams on tour. And as we say, mixed doubles is their full focus. They've played 63 mixed doubles games this year, but 1-12 against the top 10 opposition. Like, to me, if you had asked me a year ago who might be a favorite at the Olympics for mixed doubles, I probably would have said them. But they're kind of, you know, they're coming in not playing great. And I just don't know how that's going to affect them mentally as they, you know, as they prepare for Milano Cortina here.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good point. 1-12 on that stage is not going to cut it. That's for sure.
No,
so
definitely
have to figure something out to, you know, to move that up. And especially John, if you know, you mentioned the top 12 teams and just looking at this field, not even so much the countries, but just the last names on the lineups, there's a lot of good shooters competing at this Olympics. And, you know, I think you know, they were number one in the world, and you mentioned not the season they were hoping for, but they're obviously going to have to just level up and find a way to turn it on to that next gear, or it's going to be a long week for them. And, I mean, that goes for all teams. I'm not trying to pick on Estonia.
No, for sure. But, no. Yeah. To me, it's just, it's the numbers. We're not picking on anybody. I can read numbers. I know which numbers are bigger than other numbers. And yeah, the number's not great for them. I think of these teams like Czechia, they're ranked 31 in the world. As I said, they're very young. They had to come through the OQE. I think if we are talking about a team that's more likely to finish at the bottom of the standings than the top, it's probably them. But they played awesome at the OQE. They beat Tolly Gill and Dean Hewitt in that final in the OQE, and Gill and Hewitt are number 6 in the world. So, you know, they're obviously a team that can win games. I'd put them sort of towards the bottom. However, Skaslien and Nedregotten, 2-time Olympic medalists in mixed doubles, the only 2-time medalists in the specialty. They won bronze in 2018. They won silver in 2022. They've previously been the world number 1. They're world number 5 right now, and they're 39-10 coming into this event. So for me, like on the season. So again, they play a ton of mixed doubles curling. As I said, it's Magnus's sole focus. You know, to me, that's a team that can really, that's another team that could really make some noise. And maybe to the point of the Czechs being a team that's more likely to finish near the bottom, I feel like this Norwegian team more likely to finish near the top.
Oh, I think so too. Norway is one of those teams, even we see in 4-person play, they have, you know, we kind of think of Norway as that Paul Truelson, Thomas Ulsrud of, you know, that those kind of generations, but they've obviously moved on, and we don't, you know, they're not around anymore, but there's kind of been a lull. But there's a lot of good curling history in Norway, and this is a good young team ready to kind of pop up, in my opinion. We see like Rorvik on the women's side. Yeah. And then of course Magnus Ramsfjell on the men's side. There's kind of like, it's almost like they're in an in-between stage, in my opinion, in terms of, you know, being a major threat on the international stage. But I do think they're really close to getting back there. And I think that will translate into mixed doubles as well. And I agree. They're a team, like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you exactly where I think they're going to finish and how, they're going to do it, because I just don't know enough about them. I'd be, bullshitting if I did. But at the same time, we have seen, Rorvik's been in a couple slams last season, I think, or even the season before.
Yeah, they've tier 2 for sure, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. And they did have a couple.
They were in the OQE as well.
Yeah. And then obviously Ramsfell's been in a couple. So we have seen them, and that, especially Ramsfell, like, I've seen them a lot more than Rorvik, but they're just, you can tell they're just a team who's going to be really good. They just haven't broke through yet. And I think that just says something about, Norway in total. Big curling country, and they're capable of getting to the top. I don't think this is going to be the year, but I agree with you in terms of comparing them to someone like Czechia, where they have the potential to get to the top more so.
Yeah, for sure. So they're a name to watch. And let's move over and discuss a couple European teams that they were selected and had to kind of go through an agonizing process last year watching the World Mixed Doubles. And it's players we're very used to in the 4-player game. For Sweden, we've got the sibling pairing. As we know, in mixed doubles, you get some real life partners that play with each other in mixed doubles. But this is the only sibling pairing that we're getting at the Olympics. This time around, it's Rasmus and Isabella Vrano. They're number 10 in the world coming into this. They won the world championships in 2024, but then they lost the Swedish mixed doubles playoffs last year to Anna Hasselborg and Oscar Eriksson. And they had to kind of sit and hope that Anna and Oscar didn't do that well at the world mixed doubles so that they might get named to the Olympics. And that eventually happened. Anna and Oscar missed the playoffs. And so they gave the spot to Rasmus and Bella. And then similar in Switzerland, Yannick Schwaller and Breyer Hurleman-Schwaller, who are, real life pairing. They also didn't play in last year's Worlds, but they made the bronze medal game in 2024 and then kind of had to watch as Alina Petz and Sven Mikkel were playing in the World Mixed Doubles last year. And again, kind of needed them to do badly. So 2 teams that maybe in some kind of way, I guess, quote unquote, snuck in to this field, but 2 very good mixed doubles teams. I mean, teams that we are very familiar with on the 4-person side of the ledger. As I said, Vrano ranked number 10 in the world. The Schwallers are 32, and they're 18-20 this season. So maybe not, maybe not a favorite coming in, but some words about the Sweden and the Swiss teams that are kind of just on that edge, Robbie.
Well, I think between the 2 of them, I kind of like the chances of Sweden over Switzerland, and just for a couple of reasons. I really like the personality kind of matchup with Isabella and Rasmus for a couple of reasons. They're siblings. Your siblings, their blood. You know what they're thinking before they say it. And I think they're both very mature people, great people to work with, great teammates. So I think they'll manage that side of it very well. But the other thing is they're 2 very different personalities. Like Rasmus is a very kind of passive, sort of chill, kind of go with the flow. Whatever he's asked to do, he's going to do it, and he's going to do it very, very well. And so that's a weapon on any curling team. But then in Isabella, you have more of that leadership, that kind of, give me the 2 seconds left on the clock, I want the ball in my hand sort of thing. And she's willing to live or die on the sword sort of thing. And I just think if they just complement each other very well, and also obviously very, very good curlers. Assuming that Isabella's throwing 1 in 5, she's got experience throwing the brick. She's fearless in the sense that she's not going to talk herself out of throwing any shot. And especially if she gets on a roll, which you got to think at the Olympics you're going to, that's a dangerous combination. And I think if she finds her confidence early in the week, that's going to be a very, very tough team to beat. Just going forward. And for Switzerland, I mean, I don't know Breyer as well as I know Isabella, so it's hard for me to kind of talk about the chemistry, but obviously they're married. They've been together a long time. And what a year for Yannick Schwaller it's been. You win a Grand Slam right before Christmas. That's a good way to end the year. The Olympics is a month and a half or whatever after New Year's, or less than that. So your confidence is high. They had a really good showing at the players as well in the 4-person side, obviously. But my point is, Yannick Schwaller is playing extremely well right now the past couple months. Those guys work so hard at it. It's not, some kind of a fluke or a streak or anything. They're just that good. I think Yannick's confidence is higher than it's ever been. It's just a matter of if that combination translates into mixed doubles that we see in 4-person.
Yeah, agreed. Briar was around at the start of this quad, was on Team Tirinzoni, and then for whatever reason, the fit didn't work there. They won a world championship and then said, actually, we're going to move on and pick up Selena Vichanka. So it's been, kind of an interesting quad for Briar, I would say. We've seen her sister Corey have some success as well. And obviously she's had success on the mixed doubles stage. They had a kid, so I think that also affected kind of how much Briar has played, but is a very good curler. I mean, she was a great junior curler, and even into her first few years of women's, I think people kind of thought she was going to be the next Swiss star. And then, of course, as we know, sometimes things get in the way of that. And I said her name backwards. She goes Schwaller Herleman. Usually usually they put the maiden name first. So that's on me. That's on me. Sorry, Briar. And my apologies to the entire Herleman family.
Yeah.
But yes, anyway, they're a team again, like you said, two very good curlers. Yannick's playing as good as he's ever played. So they're a good mix there. I agree with you. I mean, I think the world rankings would bear it out too, that the Swedish pair probably with a little bit higher of expectations going into this event. When they won that world mixed doubles in 2024, they only lost one game. Wow. And usually the world mixed doubles, like the fields are so tight, right? Yeah. Like so you don't often see, like, it's not out of the realm of possibility that you win the world mixed doubles, but you have 3 or 4 losses along the way, right? Like it's no guarantee that you have a good run through the field. So for them to go through that entire tournament with only 1 loss, super impressive. As I said, top 10 in the world. They only played 10 games this year, but they're 7-3 on the year. And yeah, I think they're a team that's going to be in the mix at the end of the week, no question. And I just know getting to know Bella over the last few years, like how badly she wanted this, right? Like it's wanting to get to the Olympics, and you kind of feel like you're stuck behind Hasselborg. Hasselborg for the whole quad has been just that little bit better than your team, which is frustrating. Then you also see your brother out there winning world championships, and he's going to the Olympics with his 4-person team. You want it so bad. She had to sit on the sidelines and watch Anna and Oscar, and probably to some extent, Sweden was hoping Anna and Oscar did well just because Oscar has that Olympic experience in mixed doubles. He won bronze in 2022. So, just sitting there and thinking, oh my gosh, am I going to lose a chance at the Olympics again? And so, yeah, I know how badly she wants it. And I think that's really going to translate once they get to Italy. Like they're focused, they're dialed. She's had a great year on tour. They're going to be the Swedish reps at the World Women's, as we've talked about on this pod. So feels like a big year for Isabella Vrana, and I'm excited to see how that all pans out for them. Now, I want to talk about a very interesting scenario, and this is just a weird one. So if you go to doubletakeout.com and you look at the mixed doubles rankings, Ken has found a way to rank 100 mixed doubles teams. And one of the teams you will not find on his list of the top 100 is Stefania Constantini and Amos Mosaner. And the reason for that is because they simply do not play. They do not play games on tour. They do not play with each other. Stefania will play mixed doubles with other partners. Like in 2024, in 2024, she went to the World Championships playing with Francesco De Zana. She's played other events on tour with varying partners over the years. Amos doesn't play. And then, as we know, they're the defending Olympic champion in 2022. And then last year, I think just to warm up for these Olympics, they decided to play together in the world mixed doubles, and they won. So it's a very strange way of going about trying to win an Olympic medal. They also went undefeated at the World Mixed Doubles last year. So what do you make of that, Robbie? I mean, they've played literally 0 games together on tour this year. They played 0 games together on tour last year, but they are the defending world and Olympic champions.
I think what's the old saying? You do you. Whatever works for you. Like, to me, like, when I look at this field, and I know it's easy to say this, defending gold medalists, world champions, but to me, they're the team that jumps out at me, and they're very scary. Like, to me, a player like Amos, he's built for mixed doubles. He gets out to that hog line in a hurry. He's right on his feet. He's such a powerful sweeper. He can throw it so hard and so accurately. Just what a weapon. And Stefania, I know we were a little tough on their team in one of our previous episodes in our predictions, but Stefania, I think we both said it in that episode. She's a shooter.
Yeah.
She is a friggin' shooter. She's extremely good at it. And to me, it's just anytime I've seen them play, and I've probably seen them play 2 to 5 games sort of thing. So it's not a ton. It's not like you're a diehard fan who sets a timer to watch, mixed doubles curling in Europe when it's 3 a.m. here. But they're a team that just dominates, in my opinion, when they're out there. When they have control of a game, they're never out of it. And so many times, like, you just see teams trying to mount a comeback and boom, blast, gone. And they seem to get out of it. They work well as a team. And, I'm sure that's not someone just saying, you're not allowed to play any games. Good luck at the Worlds. I'm sure they just kind of sat down and, talked about it and decided that, to be totally honest, if we want to come into this fresh, I think this is just the way we got to do it. And it works for them. And it obviously worked last year. And I don't think it's going to be any different this year. They're going to be very, very tough. Especially
crazy. It's just such a great, on home soil too, for sure. And I know that, Amos is going to be one of the flag bearers there. Yeah. It is just so interesting. It's like nothing we've seen. It's like no way that a team has ever prepared for the Olympics. And I'm so curious to see how it works out. But I agree with you in that I think one thing that gets overlooked, I think people who don't watch a ton of mixed doubles, and that's myself included, to be quite frank, but people who don't watch a ton of mixed doubles, I think people think of it as a draw game. And it is, for sure, right? Like, you got to make that first draw of the end with that rock back 4. You got to make that freeze or you're chasing all end. But I think what Amos kind of unlocked at the 2022 Olympics and what has made them successful, to your point, Robbie, is that high hard one. Yeah, people have realized, like, if you have someone who can run back that initial center guard or that initial corner guard thrown in a power play and clean it up, if you've made some mistakes early on, it's become such a powerful weapon. And I think when we look at a lot of these mixed doubles players, most of them are front end players, right? Like the men, I mean. And so we maybe think of them as more like kind of draw-ish type players. And that's not to say, like, don't get me wrong, obviously Brett Gallant, Bruce Mowat, Yannick Schwaller, like, they can throw the run back.
They're pretty good.
They're pretty good, obviously. But you're right in that Amos just has that like 5-second peel weight where he can fire it back into the pile and it makes a huge difference. And then we've talked about it with other teams. I think Stefania having the experience throwing last, right? Like, I do think that makes a difference. And that's not, obviously all these teams have tons of mixed doubles experience. Jocelyn and Breyer and Corey Teesey, like the players who are not skips on their own women's teams. Like, yes, obviously they play lots of mixed doubles and they have lots of experience throwing that 5th stone. But I do think when you're throwing the last stone all the time, you're doing it on your 4-person team too. You're just used to that type of pressure. And Stefania is obviously used to it in that, world champion, Olympic champion. She's not going to be phased by having to draw the pin in a big situation or whatever, right? And so I do think that's a big advantage. And yeah, it's just it's such an interesting process. And as the classic gift says, it's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off for him.
The Ocho.
ESPN, the Ocho. Okay, we've just got a couple teams left and a couple more things to talk about. We haven't touched much on Korea, Kim and Jeong. It's kind of one of their first tournaments as a team. They won the Korean mixed doubles championship for the first time last year. And then they had that crazy story at the OQE. If you haven't checked it out, head on over to the grandslamofcurling.com. There's both a written story and YouTube kind of like video story where Min Lee talks about their journey from Korea. There was all these flight delays. They lost all their equipment. They had to play the OQE with borrowed equipment, and then they ended up winning, and crazy story. So definitely check that out. But again, a young team and one we're maybe not expecting to see at the end of the week, but a couple teams we are expecting to see at the end of the week that we have left to talk about. We've got the world number 2, Great Britain, Jen Dodds and Bruce Mowat, and the world number 3, Canada's Jocelyn Peterman and Brett Gallant. Maybe we'll talk about both of them individually. We'll start with Jen and Bruce. They were second at the Worlds last year, lost that final to Amos and Stefania. They won the Worlds in 2021. They're ranked number 2 in the world right now. They're 17-2 on the season, including 5-1 against top 10 opposition. How do you like the chances of Bruce and Jen going into to Cortina?
Oh, I really like their chances. Absolutely. They're going to be so tough. And here's why. I think out of all the teams, and this is, sorry, I'm going to reword that, John. Teams that aren't married, I find their chemistry is just so good. Their personalities just complement each other very well. Jen and Bruce, two of the nicest people you'd ever meet in the sport of curling. I always say Jen Dodds is too nice for curling. I've said that a few times.
Which seems almost impossible because there's lots of nice people in curling.
Yeah, but Jen, I mean, she has that, obviously, that Olympic experience, a gold medalist already in the 4-person. But Jen Dodds is one of the strongest athletes in the sport, in my opinion, physically. Like when you see her brushing ability, she gets down on that broom head, like a lot of pressure. And if Bruce has that kind of wiggle room with his throwing ability and his accuracy, they're not going to miss a lot of shots. They get along well. Bruce is Bruce. I'm not going to be, a dead horse and talk about his season in 4-person, the dominance. We all know that. And I just don't see that. I don't see him losing that aura going into mixed doubles. He's just, Bruce, and I mean this is a compliment, Bruce could win the Worlds or, lose the Worlds on a missed draw, and it's going to be the same reaction. Thank you. Like he doesn't, I don't think the bright lights affect Bruce as much as they do the average person. He truly comes across as someone who's just happy to be there whenever he's playing the sport. And that's a mega compliment. In my opinion, he's probably the best shot maker right now on planet Earth. That's never a bad thing, throwing 2, 3, 4 on your team with an awesome sweeper and an awesome person like Jen. They're going to be contenders, no doubt about it.
Yeah, not much more I can add to that. I agree. Great team. And they've played mixed doubles for a long time now, too. I do think that makes a difference. We're going to see some teams in this field who haven't played a ton together, maybe either because they're a new team or they just don't play that much. So I do think all of their experience together will matter. And finally, last but not least, our Canadian representatives at the Olympics, Jocelyn Peterman, Brett Gallant, married in real life, seem to get along really well on the ice. Some married curlers will tell you that mixed doubles is a fast track to divorce. But Joss and Brett, not so for them. They seem to have great chemistry on the ice. They're coming in ranked world number 3. Haven't played a ton this year, but their record's very good. They only have 1 loss this entire season. They're 12-1 on the year. They're 2-0 against top 10 opposition. We've seen them in the Worlds before, of course. They lost the quarterfinals last year at the Worlds and then lost the ranking game to Corey and Corey, but it didn't matter. That got Canada enough points to get into the Olympics directly without having to go through the OQE. And they've also known they're going to be the mixed doubles reps for a year, kind of the first time that Canada has done that. They played the mixed doubles trials last December/January, gave Joss and Brett the chance to go to the Worlds and then to go to the Olympics. What do you make of Joss and Brett? I mean, Brett well, fellow Islander. Give us the inside scoop here.
Well, keyboard warriors, get your fingers ready because there's going to be comments coming. Oh, he's a homer. He's a homer. But I really, really like this team. I think they are extremely good. We talked about off the top of this podcast and some players being, a very good 4-person curler, but an amazing mixed doubles player. To me, Jocelyn Peterman is that. She's very good in 4-person. She plays, second, but in my opinion, Jocelyn, she won the Canadian Juniors as a skip. She knows what it feels like to throw that big shot. And so many times in the trials and at the Worlds, she had to make a big shot, and she made it look easy. Now, knowing that Brett, she's playing with her husband, so I'm assuming they've thrown a lot of rocks together over the years. So they know each other's release. They know each other's tendencies. They obviously know each other's personalities. And they just seem to really, really work as a unit, perhaps even better than anyone in the field. It was a tough Canadian field to get to the Olympics. It was extremely tough.
Beat Homan and Watcher in the final.
Yeah, think about that. That's a pretty good 5 rocks being thrown at every end. And they had control of the game and obviously finished strong, and then got the job done at the Worlds. They've had the summer to kind of let it breathe for a little bit, for the first time really in Canadian Olympic curling history. Like, they've had the summer knowing that they're the team, and I think that's going to pay off. They have a young son at home, and so they had time to kind of make arrangements and kind of just do all the family stuff and make sure that they're ready to go and as 100% focused as they can be coming into the Olympics. And I think they're going to be tough. I mean, I said a lot about Jocelyn and as you mentioned, I grew up with Brett. Charlottetown's a very small city, so I saw him all the time. And I know he's, in his almost mid-30s now, or he is in his mid-30s. And, I'm talking about 18, 19, 20-year-old Brett. But, man, there was never a work ethic like Brett Gallant's in Charlottetown. There really wasn't. And I'm not trying to suck up because I told him that before. But it was, when the other teams were hanging out in the hotel or doing whatever, he was throwing rocks or he was doing something to make himself better. And there's no doubt in my mind he's doing that right now. He's already, in my opinion, the best all-around brusher in the world in terms of judging. He's just that guy you want on your team. And I think he's someone who responds to pressure well, who embraces the pressure and truly loves it. So you slap the maple leaf on his back. He's going to be in another level. I expect to see them very high on the podium. Yeah.
I mean, I think great team. One thing that I think of right away too is I did a little in Steinbach. I just did a quick little feature for Rock Channel where I interviewed a bunch of our broadcast team and asked them for their Olympic predictions. And we were lucky enough to have Kirk and Laura in the booth with us in Steinbach, Kirk Myers and Laura Walker. And so I said to Kirk, they're one of Canada's dedicated mixed doubles teams. Kirk and Laura only played mixed doubles this last quad. And I said to Kirk, you're a mixed doubles specialist. You've played all these teams. Who do you think is going to win the gold medal? And he did not hesitate. And he said, Joss and Brett. And I said, I wanted to bug him in. We're doing it for content. So I'm like, oh, okay, the homer pick. And he's like, no, they're the best team. And, so I think that's really, now Laura picked Corey and Corey. So take from that what you will. But I that's a guy who's played against them for years. He's sort of had a front row seat to their success. And there was just no hesitation. It was just, they're the best team. I've played all the teams. They're the best team. So I'll defer to my buddy Kirk. I don't know if I'm going to say that they're the best team necessarily, because as we've said, this is a jam-packed field. It could go in any direction. But yeah, impressive team, impressive how well they work together. As I said, I mean, I'm kind of joking about the divorce thing, but we have seen married couples where you can kind of tell, like they're bringing Tuesday night's fight over dinner onto the ice. And Joss and Brett just aren't like that. Like they've found a way to, obviously I think they're, of course, a very strong partnership on and off the ice, but they found a way to really just coexist on the ice as real life partners. And I don't think that that's easy. I'm making these jokes, but I do think that that's difficult to balance. Like, we are athletic partners as well as real life partners. And it, as you said, it seems like it kind of strengthens them. Whereas a lot of other teams, it can be a detriment. So I am really impressed with Joss and Brett. I think they're going to be great at the Olympics, and I'm very, very excited to watch for both of them. I think it's going to be a fantastic week. Okay, Robbie, now it's time. It is decision time. We've talked about how tight these 10 teams are packed. It could go in so many different directions. But hit me with it, Robbie. Give me your gold, your silver, and your bronze. Who's on the podium in a couple weeks in Cortina?
Pick the podium. All right. Bold pick. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm strapped.
On the bronze, or winning the bronze medal, I'm going to go with Corey and Corey of the USA.
Okay.
And they are defeating Constantini and Mozaner.
In
the bronze medal game.
Okay. Yeah.
Winning the silver medal. Hold on now. Did I get that wrong? No, I have this written down. In winning the silver medal, I am going to have the obvious powerhouse duo of Jen Dodds and Bruce Mowat.
Okay. I think
and
I
they
know where
lost
you're going at the top. Zelengrova, Chabakovsky.
Yeah. No. They are losing to I almost said Prince Edward Island, but it's true. Canada's Jocelyn Peterman and Brett Gallant. I have them picked to win gold.
Wow.
I've just seen Brett perform for so many years, and the dude doesn't lose when there's a lot on the line. I know, but I do agree with what you said about Kirk's comments, is that in my opinion, they're the best team. Again, I am certainly not a mixed doubles specialist, but just in my opinion, I just love the way they work together. I love the way they both step up. They're just a really good team. And I think they're going to be on fire come February.
Okay.
John.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear you.
It is really hard.
I know.
I really think there's a lot of good teams in this field. So I am going to say, I actually think, and it's so hard because I think they're so good, but I know the hometown pressure or the home country pressure. And I just think not playing at all is going to hurt Stefania and Amos. So I actually have them missing the playoffs. And I am going to say, I am going to give this is my own country, so I feel horrible. I feel horrible about doing this.
I'll get my booze ready.
But I am going to say, I'm going to have Jocelyn and Brett winning the bronze medal. And I think they're going to do it over Vrana and Vrano in the bronze medal game. And I am going to have Jen Dodds and Bruce Mowat winning gold over Corey and Corey.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we're not too far off.
We're not too far off.
No.
I think we've got a pretty and again, it's hard because I really do like Norway too. And I really do think that like Kaldvi and Lille, the pedigree is there. They haven't had a great year. Like there's so many teams in this field to like. It could go in so many different directions. And I think that's what's exciting. Mixed doubles is an exciting game just to start with. And then, having such a tightly packed field where it does feel like every game is going to be so huge. I think it's going to be a fantastic tournament, but for the sake of having slightly different picks than you, and also I really like Jen and Bruce's mental makeup, and I like that silver medal they won at the Worlds last year. They feel ready to me. So I'm going to go with Jen and Bruce.
I wouldn't feel as nervous as you're feeling right now betting on Bruce Mowat in any kind of a curling game.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sitting here trying to justify picking the number one curler in the world to win stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, it's going to be a great tournament.
Yeah,
we are super excited for it, and I hope you are too. Watching at home, it gets going in a couple days here in Milano Cortina. Thank you to everybody for listening. Thank you to Goldline for sponsoring this episode. If you're a mixed doubles player, no better equipment than Goldline. And of course, they have the Hardline offerings as well. As we know, Goldline acquired Hardline last off season. Very durable, great equipment, because in mixed doubles, you're up and down, you're all over the place. You need to have the best brooms, shoes, pants, gloves. You got to have it all, and Goldline has it all. So head on over to the Choice of Champions, goldlinecurling.com, for all your curling supply needs. If you want to see a video of this episode, it's on YouTube. You can give us a like and a subscribe there. You could also rate and review this show wherever you listen to your podcasts. 5 stars would be preferred and wonderful. And you can follow us on any social media platform. Just search the Broom Brothers. We are there. Thank you so much for joining us. Our Olympic previews continue. Coming up just on the other side of next week, we will get back into previewing the men's and women's fields and recapping the Scotties for you. Thanks so much for joining us. We will see you next time. Goodbye.
Peace.